Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you all the books that I read in May. This is going to be a May reading wrap up, which is also going to be smaller than what it normally is because I have been in a reading slump. I am still proud of what I read in May considering I'm in a reading slump and I'm really struggling to pick up a book. I just looked at all the books that I've read and I'm actually shocked that I read this much because it didn't feel like I read this many books. I'm not gonna lie, it felt like I read probably like 5. Like May felt like it was taking forever, so some of these I was like, I read in May. It was one of those. So let's just get right into the wrap up. Firstly, I read the Walking Dead volumes 11, 12 and 13. I decided to hop back into this series of graphic novels because the last time I read them was not last year but the year before. I think I started the series a while ago. I didn't think to pick them back up, so I decided to read them again. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like with this series it's kind of going downhill for me. I feel like it's being very dragged out at times and it's just not really grabbing my attention as much as it did within the beginning. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just maybe I'm at that point in the story where not really much is happening. I'm not too sure. But I did rate all of these 2 stars, I believe. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was that just wasn't grabbing my attention. I am going to continue on with the series because they are nice quick reads. And one of the reasons that I did start reading them, except for me wanting to continue on with the series, was generally because I was in a reading slump and I thought, oh, graphic novels, you know, are always easy to pick up in a slump. So I don't know what it was. Then I read Hex by Emily McIntyre, which is the last book within the series. And if I'm being completely honest, I wasn't sure what to rate this at first, but I think I'm going to settle with a 3-star. Because it was definitely very, very slow in the beginning. I felt like nothing much was happening and it took me so long to read this book. I think it took me about 2 weeks. It took me forever and I wasn't sure if it was because of my reading slump or because of the book. But yeah, definitely very slow at the beginning. I felt like not really much was happening, but then near the end of the book, that's when it started to grab my attention. A lot was happening. I was invested near the end, so I think a 3-star is reasonable. I say the end, but it was probably more like halfway through. That's when I started to become invested. But the first half just wasn't really. It was good, but it just wasn't grabbing my attention. Then I read Lights Out and I think I rated this one 4.5 stars. Again, this one took me a little while to read, but again, I don't know if that was the reading slump or the book, but the book in general I did really enjoy. I loved the characters and I honestly, I don't think I have a bad thing to say about this book. It didn't feel like a 5-star read to me, and I don't know if that's because it took so long to read that it just kind of took the enjoyment out of it a little bit, if that makes sense. I don't know, because obviously because it took so long, whenever I picked it back up I'd always have to make sure read a bit and slowly get back into it, which then kind of took me out of the story a little bit at times. So I feel like that's why it wasn't a 5-star, but obviously 4.5 is still a really good rating and I would highly recommend this if you haven't already, and if you are just getting into dark romance I feel like it's a good start. Someone who wants to become a dark romance reader or get into dark romance books. Then I read First Time Caller and I rated this one 4 stars, which actually shocked me a little because I had a feeling I'd enjoy it but not as much as I did, which is why it shocked me so much. I actually really enjoyed this and I enjoyed the preface of it. I enjoyed the main male character's like relationship with her and obviously her daughter, like, and how he like treated her daughter like his own pretty much from the get-go, like straight away. I also loved the preface of the radio show. I found that really interesting. I don't read my books with radio shows, but when I do really enjoy them, so I think it is definitely something I enjoy. Then I reread The Score by Elle Kennedy and it's no shocker that I kept this at 5 stars. I will always love this book and I'll always love this specific scene. I won't say in case anyone hasn't read it. I mean, I'll be surprised if you haven't, but if you haven't, please read it. I just absolutely love this book. I will never get over it, and I read this because I'm in a reading slump and I was hoping it would help me. I read this in one sitting while being in a reading slump. Haven't been able to really pick up books, and if I do it's like for 5 seconds and I wish I was joking. I would read a page, put it down, like I just didn't have the attention span. I read this in one sitting. I also read this in 2 hours. I think that just explains it all. Then I read Death Row by Freida McFadden. This is Freida McFadden's novella. It's like 74 pages. That's why I decided to read it, because one, it's Freida McFadden. Freida McFadden just always gets me out of a reading slump, or if I'm in a reading slump, just gets me to read, because her books are just so quick and fast paced and definitely attention grabbing. But also it's 74 pages, so I thought I should definitely be able to read this, and if I can't, then there's a real issue. I was able to read it. I did rate it 2 stars just because I don't know what it was, but I feel like part of the story there was something lacking, and I don't know what it is, and I don't normally say that about Freida McFadden's books, but I don't know if it's because it was 74 pages and I felt like I wanted more from it, and I just feel like 74 pages, it wasn't enough. Like I wanted more. But also it is a novella, and I do tend to rate novellas like the highest 3 stars, because any more I just don't feel like it's fair, really, unless it was really good. Like, I have rated novellas 5 stars before. Then I read a book called This Is Not Real, and this is a small writer. I obviously wanted to support them, so I read it, and I'm so glad that I did. I actually rated it 4 stars. I would definitely recommend. I wrote in my Goodreads review, this book wrecked me and warmed my heart. It makes you feel all the feels, and the connection between the characters is strong. I love the found family. This is such a cute romance. And then straight after me reading that one, I also read the second book. There's only 2 books out so far, called Will You. It's a series, but like it's about 2 different couples, and this one I also rated 4 stars, and I put this book broke my heart. I love the found family and the friendship. You can really feel the connection between the characters, so if you love found family, then I would highly recommend. And I read Phantasma and Enchantra, and honestly I'm a little bit confused, because Phantasma I read it in one sitting. I was obsessed and I rated it 5 stars straight away, like there was no doubt about it. And then I read Enchantra and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to rate this 4.5 stars. But now that I think about it, I think I'm just going to rate them both 5 stars, because Phantasma I enjoyed because of the world building. I enjoyed getting to know the characters and the world, and you know, setting up for the book. I enjoyed that, and obviously it kept my attention. I read it in one sitting. It's a fantasy book. I don't think I've ever done that, or if not in a while. But then I read Enchantra, and what I love about Enchantra is that more happens. There is more action, there's more like information, you find out more. And so I think just both of them are 5 stars. I love the series so much, and I can't believe that Phantasma has been sitting on my Kindle for months and months, and I just didn't pick it up. But I'm so glad that I picked it up now while in the reading slump, because I feel like I found it at the best time. Then I read a book called Of Blood and Roses, and I rated this one 3 stars. It was quick, it was fun, it was entertaining, but again I felt like there was just something missing. I don't know what it is, but it just felt like it was lacking in some areas, mostly in the character development. I'm very big on character development. I love a good character development. Characters are very important to me within a story, and it just felt like it lacked that a little bit, and also kind of with the world building as well. But like I said, it was a fun, quick, easy read, and I would highly recommend it. Then I read Becoming Calendar and also Finding Eden. This is a duology, which I didn't know. I thought this was a series with Grace and Val, but it isn't. Grace and Val is actually a standalone, so I got that wrong. But yeah, this is a duology, and this actually shocked me because I was not expecting this type of book at all, but especially from Miss Sheehan, it was definitely something different from what they normally write. I rated them 2 stars because obviously this is based off a certain topic which I have never read about before, and I don't know what it was. It wasn't for me personally. There's a lot of hard things discussed within this book, so it definitely is a hard read, if I must say so myself. But I would definitely say that the writing was good, which isn't shocking for me, Shauna. I did really enjoy the writing, and I feel like it was done well, but it was just hard for me to read, and that's for both books. Then I read Little White Lies, and I rated this 3 stars. It was definitely very interesting. I was invested. I couldn't put it down. I read it in one sitting, and I loved the family dynamic and like the drama that it had, especially like the rich people drama, should we call it. and also there was like a lot of secrets and that you had to like discover and things, and I just love a mystery when it's like that, where you have to kind of like find out the secrets, like unfold things. I find that very interesting. And then I did go into the second one, which is Deadly Little Scandals, and I rated this one 2 stars just because I found that I enjoyed the first one a little bit more. The second book does continue. You do find out more, you discover more things and all that, but I don't know, I just feel like there was more with the first one because he was actually discovering like this mystery, and also there was like a big massive twist near the end. I feel like the second one didn't really have that. Then I read Not a Happy Family, and I rated this one 2 stars. I don't know what it was with this one, if I'm being completely honest. I don't really know what to say about this. I just feel like it's not really that memorable. There was times where I was really bored and I just felt like it was dragging on, where there was kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Like there was a point in time where there was no like anticipation. It was kind of like just flat, like life happening type thing, and there was no like, oh but what, like, you know, there's no mystery, there's nothing making me want to continue reading or grabbing my attention. I just feel like this one wouldn't be really memorable to me. And then finally I read the novella With You by Marley Valentine, which is just a little novella after Without You, I think it's called, the first book Without You. I read this a while ago and I loved it, and then I saw that there was a novella which I didn't actually know about before, and I had to read it, and you just get like their life after, and it's really fun and enjoyable. And I rated it 3 stars because obviously it's a novella, but I did really enjoy it. So those are all the books that I read in May. I felt like I didn't really have much to say about the books, but that's because I'm in a reading slump, so I read and then things just leave type thing. I've noticed that it is what's been happening recently. So I'm sorry if this wasn't really interesting, but now you know all the books that I read during May. But thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave this emoji if you watch until the end, and hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.